Alrighty, guys, this is your host, ID Jester, and so let it begin. Our 2020 countdown of our top 17 baseball games that I currently own. Of course, not everyone can be number one. Not every one of them could be the number 17. Again, this is just based on my thoughts and opinions. We will go through all the strengths and weaknesses and talk about each of them in about 10 minutes and hopefully give you a good overview of each of the different games. So it might be something that you might be interested in trying out, trying to purchase, looking up, watching other YouTubers play the games, and hopefully at least get you interested in some other card and dice systems that are out there. So without further ado, let's get to number 17 on our list. Number 17, falling 2 spots from the last review I did, is Superstar Baseball / SI Sports Illustrated Baseball. It was on number 15 in last year's review show. This year we are doing 17 games instead of 16 games, but this game has fallen 2 spots down to the very last number 17 spot. All right, so let's talk about value. How much do you get for the cost? So the game is hard to actually get and find now, and you have to go on eBay to purchase it. So I can't even take you to a web link to show you what to get. And with that, you get approximately, I think it was around 850 cards, and you get a CD that is loaded with other cards for you to print out yourself. So value, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. You do get a lot of stuff for the money, but a lot of it you have to make and create yourself. Quality of the cards, the components, and everything, again, I'm going to give it a 6 on that. The quality that comes with the cards is pretty decent. The issue I have mostly with the quality is, let's give you a couple examples. So here's a screenshot of the player card, and here's a screenshot of the pitcher card. So this would be the pitcher card, this would be the batter card. The reason I don't rate it any higher than this is because a lot of the stats and everything is sideways on the card. So you're constantly having to either turn your head or turn the card so you can read the information on the side of it. It's not, I think the card could have been designed a lot better. So the information might be up here and then have the 10 through 39 below that information, so you're not constantly turning your head. But I think that's the way they designed it originally, so that's the way the person that is still selling cards for this, again, I can't find anywhere else besides like one person on eBay that sells his sets. And so quality 6, support from the company, the mods, etc. Again, because of the low turnout, low support for this game, I'm going to give it a 2. One person on eBay is all I can find to actually order this game anymore. And availability of the seasons, extra players, etc., I'm giving it a 1 because what you get is basically all there is. There is a few mods that you can download from the internet, but some of them use different formula in creating their own player cards and stuff, so they're not all the same. They're not all exactly like the cards that you would get. Some of them just come in like an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to give it a 1 on availability of seasons and extra players. Ease flow of the game, we're talking probably 4 for the game. It's pretty easy to get into the game and play. There's not a lot of rules. I think it's only like a 2 or 3 page rule book. There's quite a few charts, maybe half dozen charts or so. But you're basically, the game system is roll on a pitcher card. If you don't get the result, if we just look at the pitcher card, so if we roll, say, 17, that's blank on the pitcher card. So then you would roll again on the batter card, and whatever you would roll is what you get. There is lefty-righty splits on the cards, so that is a bonus. The game flow is pretty good in broad overview strokes, but again, just the gameplay seems to be rolling a lot on a pitcher's card who doesn't really make that big a difference in the outcome of the play, because as you can see from this example here, not a lot of the spots on the pitcher card are actually going to come into play, and so it's kind of I'm not saying it's a waste of time to roll in the pitcher card, because that's the system, right? Roll in the pitcher card, then roll in the batter card if you don't get a result. But that extra roll where 30, 40, 50% of the time you're not getting any results is, slows the game down. So that's why I gave it a 4. So the game system, roll on the pitcher card and then on the batter card if you don't get a result. Is there a computer version of this game? No. Can you order printed cards? Yes. In fact, you have to. And then can you order a PDF? No, you can't order a PDF. Well, I mean, it comes with the game. So that's why I wanted to mention that. Game strengths. So if you're not familiar with Superstar Baseball, SI Baseball, it basically takes all of the best players from the beginning of baseball. We're talking like 1870s. Takes all the best players and cards just those players. So it allows you to mix and match many different players from many different eras. The 1900s, the 1910s, the 20s, the 30s, the 60s, 80s, 70s, So it has a lot of the best players throughout baseball's history, including the Negro League, right? So you have a lot of cards that you're not going to get when you order season sets from some of these other games. So it allows you to create a lot of what-if scenarios. What if you took Babe Ruth and put him on the Detroit Tigers? What if you took Roger Clemens, Bo Jackson, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., and a lot of players, and put them on a team, and then you create all your imaginary teams yourself with all these best players of the best players, and you can have yourself a really awesome kind of replay that way. Of all the games that I'm going to review, if you are a person that likes to do a lot of mixing and matching, what-if scenarios, of all the games, this would be the best and cheapest way for you to get into that. Because for a $40 investment, you will get a whole bunch of players throughout baseball's history. You won't need to buy multiple season sets. You can just buy, the one, file that comes together. So it allows you to play through all those different eras with all the greatest players of everyone that has ever lived. And if you're into mixing and matching and non-historical stuff, creating what-if scenarios, creating what-if teams, creating what-if this, that, and the other thing, then this is your best investment. Just because it's number 17 doesn't mean it won't fit what you're trying to do in your replay. It won't. It doesn't mean that it won't be the best option for you based upon what you're going to do. Game weaknesses. You can't do replays because your normal players aren't carded. Let's show you an example here. So this is some of the players that come on the CD roster. You can see there's 1,296 additional position players, and you can see a list of many, many, many people there. These are all carded on the CD that you get, and you can print those out and cut those cards out, and you have these players to go. But unfortunately, if you're going to play the 1998 Seattle Mariners, you're not going to have all the players for that team to do a replay. So you can't do a replay of that team because they're not going to have all the cards. They're only going to have a few players from each team, the best of the best of the best. So it's missing all the normal players. The system for me seems a little bit outdated. Obviously, this is an old system. It's been around for a long time. I think the 70s. It might even be before that. I'm not sure. But it's an old system that really hasn't been updated. And it uses these weird dice. It uses 3 6-sided dice, but the dice have little pips on them. Either 0 pips, 1 pip, or 2 pips. And each of the 3 dice are different in how many pips they have. So you have like 1 yellow dice and 2 white dice. And the yellow dice will give you either a 0, 1, and 2, or 3. I'm sorry, it'll either be a 1, 2, or 3. So that's how you get from 10 up to 39. And then your 2 white dice are going to give you a number between 0 and 9 based on how many pips you have. So you need special dice, or you need to have blank dice that you can use a Sharpie on to create your own dice for that. So again, kind of a weird, outdated system. Just uses the weird dice. Nothing wrong with this game at all. You get a pretty good value for how much you get. Doesn't cost a ton to invest in it. In fact, if you're the kind of player or person that really is into non-historical, looking at the greatest players throughout history and matching all these players up against one another in your own kind of special tournament, this would be the best and easiest and cheapest way to do it. In fact, I'm sending my copy of Superstar Baseball to Al Red Sox fan because I think this is something that he would really, really like. I think this is something that he would really enjoy, creating his own teams from all the best of players and running his own leagues and, setting up, 10 or 12, 15 different teams and putting them in their own replays and trying it out. I think this is something he would really enjoy. So I'm sending him my copy that I had bought because this is something, although it's really good, it's just something that I'm not interested in doing because I like to do historical stuff. I'm more of a historian. I like to replay what had already happened and not create my own stuff. If you're the person that wants to create your own stuff and your own imaginary what-if scenarios, this is the perfect system for you. I highly recommend it if you are someone like that. If you are someone that wants to just replay the 1986 Detroit Tigers, this is not the system for you because you will not get all the players. You will not get all the normal players. And you will have to basically make up your own player cards for the players that are not carded. You do get a lot of cards. Like I said, about 850 cards that come in the game. And, a ton of extra player cards that you're going to have to print out, cut, and everything on cardstock paper yourself if you want some of the players that aren't already carded for you. So that's our review. Number 17, Superstar Baseball, SI Baseball. Could be right up your alley, depending on what you're wanting to do. And it could be something that you might want to look at. If you're a player that looks what-if scenarios and creating your own superstar teams, this might be something for you. If not, I would stay clear of it and look for something else on the list. Maybe one of these other systems might be something better for you. We'll see you for number 16 coming up next time. Thanks for watching.